Lead by inspiring, lead by experience, lead by example, lead by. The Leadership Podcast brought to you by Ezeni. My name is Matt Stankham and I'm your host, bringing you thought-provoking, inspirational chat every month. Hear from leaders, business owners, coaches and subject matter experts from across a variety of industries. So however you consume your podcasts, turn up the volume, relax, and above all, enjoy this month's guest.
Hello, Lead by listeners. It's great to have you back. You're here because you want the other half of the chat. Yes, Alexandra Wood started to share the beginnings of her 17-year career as a business owner in Part 1, Episode 2. Well, it's now time to pick up from where we left off. If you missed the first part, go to Episode 2 now by clicking the link in the show notes or by clicking the pop-out banner now.
We've come back from a break. We've just been chatting off camera, and you raised a really good point about having this opportunity to talk about yourself and almost do the sort of highlights reel of all these great things that you've achieved. And is that something that is I guess one of those things you're featuring in this sort of daily reflection now? Is that something you need to do? Is it something that is working for you?
Well, actually, part of my coaching is to do weekly wins. I started noting down daily wins because it's very easy to kind of do every day and kind of go right on to the next. But sometimes I think really like try and celebrate, but it's like all these things you should do is like eat well, exercise, coach, and then write your daily wins. I mean, I haven't done any work today. But it's like if you can celebrate very poignant things, then I think that's good because it's good for the brain because then it gets a reward, and which then spurs you on to be better and do more. So it's actually psychologically a good thing.
Yes, and so that reflection, that time to kind of recap those best parts, I guess just spurs you on, makes you feel good about yourself, show the team that you're doing great work, and then you can go on and be bigger and better and stronger. Yeah,
because you can kind of think, oh, I didn't hit target. Oh, that client didn't say yes, or and kind of go on a bit of a spiral of meh. It's really important in business to keep like an upbeat, good vibration.
Yes.
And to be like, but we did this, because as I mentioned, had a little bit of a debacle earlier, and I was like, it's all right because we've got tons of other great stuff happening. Stuff happens, we'll be okay and we'll figure it out. And then I love solving problems. Like, I don't want problems all the time. That's annoying. But for some reason, my brain just goes, yes. Like, it's a bit of a dopamine rush. If someone's like, oh, I've got a problem, I'll be like, I want to get a solution. I think that's like what's made me always spur on. I was like, I can't hear no. Sorry, I can't hear no. Did you say no? No, I didn't hear that.
But then I guess your business is built on problem solving, isn't it? You're solving the men's problem in fashion by presenting these great solutions that make them feel good, and then you feel good as a byproduct. So it's this really nice synergy.
It is,
and at the end of it, everybody gets paid here and has success.
Hey, you look great on it. It's like clients go, oh, and, if you imagine for 17 years, I have clients going, oh, Alex, I don't look good, nothing fits, and I go, I know, I know, I totally get it. It's like I know my client, because actually we do attract a very similar kind of person who, however serious their job is, they're like a little chuckle monster inside where they're just like, I think I'm going to have some fun here. So I understand all the anxieties before they speak, and I know what suits them because of the way they hold themselves and the vibe they have. So it's like they kind of then feel like, I don't even have to think about this. This is great. I mean, they might as well be on their phone and I'll go, yeah, this is what I'm going to choose for you. And they go,
it's huge
fine.
amounts of trust, isn't it? Because at the point they walk in the door, they've probably had a consultation with you on the phone or Teams or whatever, but they don't know you. They maybe have been referred to you or they've had an understanding of a company, but they put immense trust in you at that point to do the right thing to represent their personal brand. But I guess this your operation gives you insight that no one else gets.
Yeah.
So you're seeing these people as leaders, as company owners, as major players in a really different way. Do you see them transform in the public domain, so if these big names, do you see them transform into someone they weren't when they were not wearing your tailored garments?
Yeah. It does. People can say, oh, don't be silly, like clothes don't give you that much power. They do. Like I watched Limitless last night, the old 2000 one, Bradley Cooper. And every film where they show someone for a positive change shows them dressed better, sharper, slicker. They attract more. Like, so he's a down and out terrible writer, writer that hasn't written for a while, who looks a bit like a homeless man, and then suddenly becomes successful, has razor sharp suits, silky shirts, and he looks amazing, and he's giving off a whole different vibe and aura. So yeah, it does make a difference. You know, I've had clients say, you know, so like a headmaster of Eltham College, and he was like, oh, sign-ups have definitely gone up, because if you feel more confident, you're going to be, it's like, it's connected with other things, but it's your outer image.
I was going to ask that because it builds confidence, and I know this on a personal level from having spent many years in sales management, operations, and in selling frontline. I always used to say to my wife, the minute I put a suit on, for me, I really love wearing a suit. The minute I put a nice crisp shirt on and a good suit, a really well fitted suit, I feel like I can do the best I can do in that job. And I don't know why. It's a psychological trigger.
Yeah.
And when I didn't go to the trouble of looking my best or feeling my best, I wouldn't perform. So I don't know what the science is in that, but it did unlock something in me. And I guess the people you're dealing with, it gives them the capacity to go into a boardroom, to go into the public domain, make a speech, pull the trigger on a really important deal.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it gives them the maximum capacity based on putting on a new set of garments of wardrobe that they hadn't considered before.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, because you could say it's not just any suit. It's my suit. No. It's like you can wear a designer suit, it'd be shapeless, and you still don't feel great. Just because you've gone chuck loads of money at it, it doesn't make it great. There are lots of things that come together, cut, fabric, design, making it for you. I've seen plenty of men wear tailoring where they like look really uncomfortable because the colour's wrong, it's a bit jarring. So it's kind of like everything needs to fall into place, which exudes. You're lucky if you find like a ready to wear or tailored, whatever, suit that makes you feel good. It's kind of like a little bit of a science. I take a very full-on approach to it. It's not just like, that's cut, it's nice.
Of course,
lots of elements to it, but cut is massive, because if it's cut, that shows off your body in a better way. Because actually tailoring is like a real illusion. It's a clever trick which no other clothing can create at all. But it has to be done right, because it can look great, but it can look terrible.
Yeah, I guess it can highlight all the wrong things or all the right things.
Yeah.
And obviously we want the better. So talk to me about the people that make that magic happen. Because again, you've got the team. We've talked about the growth of the team, and they're very like-minded now. You've hired all the very best people. How do you take a step back from some of that hands-on operation? Because it sounds very much like your passion is still in doing the doing.
Yeah.
Is there ever going to be a point where you can resign yourself from some of that responsibility, so you can maybe have a bit more of that compartmentalization of the responsibility?
Well, I would fully admit that probably not too long ago, I was a bit of a control freak. I've got to do everything. I know how to write. I know how to connect. And I was like, nah, it's tiring. I don't want to do it. Fully capable. I go, you can do it. I'll hand that over to you. And I feel and they're like, good. I think they're like, good, thank God. So, you know, because I love marketing, because I think it's the messages, it's talking to clients, and that does get transferred to marketing. But, you know, Charlotte gets it, and I don't want to insult her by going, oh, I want to do it this way and this and that. And I say to her, like, what do you think we should do? What do you think we should do? What do you think the strategy should be? You know, so I'm just forcing myself to kind of go empower someone else.
Yes.
And same with Kate, my assistant, you know, I need you to look after the app. It wasn't looking as sharp as it should do. And now it's like looking amazing. I'm like, yes, right person. You know, it's like now using my connective or whatever, understanding, self-awareness to be like, I can't keep going on like that.
Yeah.
That's tedious. I'm paying these people to, but I think I used to feel bad. Like, oh my God, I know I'm paying for them, but I don't want to push them to the brink because I'm like, I'm fine with pushing myself to the brink because I own it. But, you know, is it okay to make people do it? And people go, yes. So, yeah, I think it's being comfortable with delegating and not doing the things that take you absolute blonking hours. I mean, I don't make our clothes. I design ideas, you know, and one-on-one with clients, but that's why we've developed the app. So I'm blending, I'm innovating the business to be very much personalization paired with tech. So that the app is very interactive. Clients can be measured, and I think it works for our kind of client as well, where they're measured for absolutely every product we do. It's loaded onto our app, private area. Seasonally, they're given ideas of what they'd wear, and they can literally, like an e-commerce store, order it, but made to their exact specifications. Right. Chat to us, say, can you make this? I've seen it in another shop. So I'm scaling it that way versus hiring like mini-me robots.
Yeah, makes
sense. I tried that as well, and that was a disaster.
Well, the thing is, you often you can't have the mini-me's because what makes a team come together is that blend of all these wonderful components of people and attributes. And again, and just a shameless plug for us for a moment, when we talk in our language, we talk about psychometrics and behavioral studies. One of the most powerful things you can do as a company is identify those different types of behaviors and attributes and emotional intelligence, because when you put that blend back together, you end up with this high-performing, unstoppable team. If you have too many of the same styles, or headstrong people, or really demanding, very calculated or very analytical, whatever it might be, that becomes something that causes conflict. Or it causes one-upmanship, and it is very, very challenging to manage that. So, yeah, you do need a blend, and you need to have different opinions and different viewpoints, because actually it challenges one another to be better. And what you're doing is you're advocating having a great time and enjoying what you do and be passionate and setting high standards, but equally saying, I'll leave the door open for you to make your own decisions and go your own way, provided you work within the umbrella of my brand. Then we'll all be successful.
Definitely. Yeah, you can't have people being absolute delinquents.
No.
Be like, oh, they are. I think that's why I couldn't work for anyone else, because I was that delinquent. I was like, yeah, I think I've got a better way to do this. So I went to Sylvie Young Theatre School, and I used to do singing, dancing and acting. And someone went, oh, triple threat. And I went, if I was good at all of them. But I was like, you know, I did dance classes. My mum said, you went in at the higher level. And I went, yeah, I thought I'd give it a go. Well, I couldn't keep up at all. But I was like, oh, well, I tried. I'm quite good at acting and singing. So that's right. Double threat.
So you are a go-getter. From everything you've said so far, you really are someone that's prepared to put it all on the line and go after what you want.
I'd lost that a little bit, actually. This coaching has really helped me be that person again. I was like, you know, actually you can, because you can start to think, you know, like I'm 44 now, and you think I'm getting older, and, you know, am I getting tired? Should I still be doing this? And people probably think, you're not that old. I mean, you know, most people don't set up their business maybe at 26. But I feel like I've only really now just started a couple of years ago. Because
you're just getting into a rhythm now, and
I feel like this is such a great time. Like, I'm really excited about the next year or two, because I think going higher places.
So who inspires you? You know, externally, who makes you want to be bigger, stronger, and go the extra mile?
Yeah, my brain cells. But I love Trini. I think she's great. I watch her every day, actually. That sounds like a stalker. But like on her socials, and I saw her on her Instagram, and she was talking about, oh, I'm on holiday, and she was feeling a bit anxious that she wasn't in meetings. And I thought, yeah, I've really let that one go now, because I don't care. Like, if I went on a spa break and I was like, I love the fact I'm not on my phone and I'm not even thinking about this, like that's really winning, because I don't actually think you're a great leader if you can't respect your own time off. And my husband used to be like, Jesus, can you please stop talking about work? Can you please be off your phone? And I'd be like, but I just, and I thought, that's a horrible person to be around. So I'm definitely not doing that anymore. But she is always on it, like so. But I'd say, Trini, rest on your holidays. Let the team get on with it.
Yeah.
But I find her really inspiring. I watched something about her being on Diary of CEO, and she said, set up her own business at 53. And she actually, I think her husband died and she remortgaged her house. And it's very easy to people be like, oh, well, she was on a TV program and she probably got loads of venture capitalists around her. I'm pretty sure she sold her own house. That's not, and people are very flippant about success because they're like, oh, it's easy for her. She's just natural at it, or this and that. I do think we need to give, going off on a tangent, people like more respect because it's pretty hard.
Well,
like,
yeah, I mean, the
got to be a bit of a psychopath.
The art of the great business owner and a great leader is to make it look easy.
Yeah,
that's what they all do very well, and therefore you always get that trolling type of mentality from people, and you get negativity because those people want the same success, or they're driven by materialistic results, so therefore they're looking for the quickest win, but they don't realise the pain and the challenge that they've all gone through. And going back to what we were saying just after the break, it is important as a leader to celebrate your successes and remember the good times to empower you to get through the tougher times that you've said very candidly you experienced. You hit a dark place and you had to do something about it, because it could have been the end for you and your organisation if you didn't challenge yourself to be better and work on how you could improve your mental health and get through it. So thinking about the people you're dealing with, these high powered people, are there any people in your client book that you look at and you think, do you know what, they nail it? And have you taken the essence of any of their leadership style and carried that into your business?
I have a client who, because he was like, Alex, if you ever need my help, and he was MD of great businesses in a field very well. Okay. And he said, if you ever want my help, and I said, I sent him a WhatsApp and I said, I'd like to take you up on it, because actually I've really detested the thought of being pushy. I probably could have got a lot further if I was more pushy and this and that, but I don't like it. I've tried to strike that balance of asking for things without feeling like I'm just going to go and bulldoze someone down. Yeah. And I said, I would like that help actually. We had a call and I said, I'd quite like you to be my mentor, but I don't mean every week, just as and when. He's like, oh, what do you need from me? And he said, what about this one? And I was like, yes, amazing opportunity. So that level of giving, I think that's really important, because, and he's very much in leadership and talks about leadership and things like that. So I'd take from him because of the way he offers guidance, and it's not about money or this and that, because sometimes people like a lot of chat and do nothing. I like to say I'll do something and do it, action. So that person always gets my respect.
Yeah. And
someone wants to help someone.
What goes around comes around. If you can network in that way, everybody will benefit at some point. And by sharing their wisdom, and just as you are now, and you've been gracious enough to give up your time and tell us about how you've been successful, and actually what the definition of success is really important in this conversation. And what's been very, very interesting over the last few episodes that we've done is there is a real common theme in the most successful leaders that we've spoken to. And so far that recipe is top of the list: empathy and communication, followed by the understanding of the people to get the best out of them, and then also coaching and mentoring. They're the top three things that are really consistent in everybody that we've spoken to. And in actual fact, those things can be taught, and we offer those services, and many other organisations offer the services to support that. But it's something that you can grow in yourself by just taking a moment to reflect, and also challenge yourself as a leader to be better and to establish yourself as a more credible leader by not necessarily having an ego.
Ego needs to go.
It has to go, doesn't it? Because if you think about yourself, then you do create mini-me's, because you're you're advocating behaviours that are driven by your own passions and views. Whereas actually what you want to instill in a company is the essence of you and your values, but for people to take their own path and grow. And actually, as a result, as we said earlier, people become more successful. The company grows and becomes more successful because you hire the right marketeers, you hire the right salespeople, you get the right production teams, but they all are singing from the same hymn sheet, which is ultimately the Alex Wood way of doing things.
Yeah, definitely.
So before we wrap up, what's the future then? You said you were thinking about scaling and getting bigger, and the team will maybe grow. You're passionate on marketing. What other things are you doing now to really shout about yourself, get yourself out there, and show others to come and work for you and be that great leader?
Yes, I've made kind of 3 big outsourced hires, but like massively poignant hires that will help to scale the business steadily, profitably, and a little bit, a lot more strategically, because as you may have guessed, like, and a lot of creative people are absolute disaster at running business, because they're like, they'd almost give away what they do for free because they love it so much and love people, and it's like, oh, but I'm poor, what a shame. Whereas I've been like quite business minded with it. It's like I'm not actually prepared to give it for free. But what was I talking about? So I'm looking at key like PR, more marketing, but actually I don't want or believe you need to have a massive team. Sometimes people see it successful as like, I've got a team of 100, but I'd rather like a tighter knit, very like strong working team, because not control freaky, but I can't stand lazy people. I like to feel like people are enriched by full varied days. Not overwhelmed. I do actually regularly check in and go, is it enough? Do you need additional support from me or from someone else? Always communicate that, because it's usually a case if they haven't, then they're probably off trying to get another job or whatever. So communication like that's very important.
And that features in your team meetings and things like that, you were saying?
Yeah, we have team meeting every Monday. We always start by saying, what was your great thing that happened on the weekend, and what's been your business win for the past week? It's about celebrating ourselves. No negativity allowed. It's not like, well, no. Because you wanted to lift the vibrations on a Monday morning. And then we talk about the goals and where, have we done those things? Have we checked those things off the list, so that everyone knows at the beginning of the week that you're on the same page, and reminder always of what you're trying to achieve. And I said, remember, we are the best in the business at Tailored Wardrobes. We are the best, and we need to be, because you have to talk from a place of where you are, where you want to be, rather than like, I'm wishing and I'm hoping. I was like, we have to be the best customer service. Like, I don't want to be like other mediocre, soulless companies. I want our clients to be saying, bloody hell, they're amazing. Like, they're so thoughtful. They're always on it, So, just a tighter team, and just, I don't know, like 1, 2, 3, maybe more hires, more around the digital side.
So you can still keep hands on the business, have your mark on it, but getting great people to encourage growth. Yeah,
there are digitally scalable things we can do, which I won't share just now.
More on that soon.
Another podcast. But the Tailor's wardrobe is very niche, very exclusive. I think that's the joy of it, where not everyone can have it. We literally only sell 75 a year. So there's millions of people out there. Not that can all afford it, but I don't want to be spray and pray. We very much made it much tighter, much more exclusive, but can scale certainly in those other ways, which are not humans. They're tech, but having that real personal touch to it. So I'm quite excited about it. I feel quite exciting. Proud of myself.
Yeah, good for you. And you've got a hugely successful business. So again, don't want to downplay this at all. You're dealing with some really important people. You've got huge growth, huge scale in the time you've been operating. You were a very young, inspired person who's grown in the last 20 years to less than 20 years to where you are now with a team behind you who are equally as passionate. And that comes from great leadership and great vision. And no one has the recipe when they first start out, certainly starting their own business. No one knows what they really need to do.
Yeah.
Some of that is trial by fire.
Yes.
And as you've said, you've had some challenges, you've overcome them. You're constantly looking for evolution and ways to get better. And ultimately, we want to see you as at a distance having great success and continue to have great success and people be inspired from this type of conversation about how to lead others and do a great job, because actually it isn't about starting with the profits. It's putting people before profits, as Richard Branson once said.
Yep.
And that is what's going to get the success, because as a byproduct, you've got all the right people and all the right moving parts. So before we wrap up, if there was one thing that you could impart to an inspired future leader, what would it be?
Care about everyone around you and yourself.
Right.
That sounds a bit like Jerry Springer. Take care of each other and yourself. But yeah, no, you've got to take care of yourself mentally, physically, but your team as well. Care about them like they are a family member.
Yes.
Equally, if they're toxic, they got to go.
Well, on that note, I should go because I've kept you here long enough. But it's been
It's midnight, by the way.
Yeah, it's getting dark or thereabouts. I can't thank you enough for giving up your time. It's been such a great chat, and you're really a lot of fun to talk with.
Thanks.
And I hope that I can come back and have another chat sometime when you've again opened up your digital channels and all the other things you're looking to evolve. But
when we've absolutely smashed it.
All this other technology.
Yeah.
We'll hopefully speak to you again soon.
Thank you.
Cheers.